Hey there folks, Chumpesk here, bringing you another audio commentary, and today we have a 2 versus 2 game on a map. I believe it's called Golden's Legacy. I only briefly saw it in the startup, and I actually know nothing about this map, but it is going to be a 2 versus 2 with the with a red undead and a pink orc versus what's the other team? A blue elf and a yellow orc. So interesting combinations here. Obviously elf and undead is one of the strongest combinations, but we actually don't have that. Sorry, we have an undead and an orc, which is a very good combination. Actually, one of the other very strong combinations is elf and orc. Both of those race combinations work together very well. But let's just take a quick look actually around this map, because I don't know anything about this map. Looks like every player has an expansion just a bit in with some really weirdly placed creeps actually, and I don't know what a lot of these creeps do. It looks like they're some of them are pretty decent though. And then we have some smaller creep camps here. We have actually more creeps down here, and then a shop, tavern in the middle, merc camp there. Actually really odd, just a selection of creeps here. It's interesting map. And then we have expansions here at the sort of 1, 4, 7 and 10 o'clock positions, with just these actually this is a really strong creep here. That's almost like red dragon strong. And so yeah, it's an interesting map certainly, and actually we have a bunch more little creeps down here as well. And I think there are some maps that have these creeps, so I do know what some of them do at very least. And it looks like we will be having a fiend opening here from our undead player, and we will be actually a farseer opening here for our pink orc, who actually got his voodoo launch before his barracks as well, which is going to mean he can do a bit of creeping with his spirit wolves, or he can do a bit of harassment on this elf, who by the looks of it, yeah, he's going for huntresses. Obviously with orc actually going for just one Ancient of War huntresses, and then taking up to getting drieds is very strong in 2 versus 2. And we do have a demon hunter coming out for him, and we do have a blade master out for our yellow orc, and I believe it'll probably be, yeah, it is a death knight here for our red undead. Obviously but it's just so important to have that to have the aura from the Death Knight as well, because obviously auras count double in 2 versus 2 when it comes to the actual fights. So pretty useful to have there. And it looks like we will be having just some normal creeping here by both players, actually, or by all 4 players rather. And it looks like actually maybe a bit of harassment here while the first huntress comes out for this elf, and the elf is going to try and get the kill actually on this one feral spirit. It would be very nice if he could. Yeah, it looks like he's already gotten probably a peon kill, wouldn't be an acolyte, and he will actually be forced to run away now that 2 more spirit wolves are out. But obviously actually this first year needs to be wary, because the first year has very few hit points, as well as being very susceptible to mana burn. And actually the spirit wolves need to be wary of wisps as well, because obviously a detonate can be pretty gutting this early on, because you really lose a huge chunk of your army. Cole goes off to take down that wisp very quickly before the elf can react. Obviously the elf busy with this other fight here, so a nice job making him have to be in more places than he can be at once. And the Splaymaster now going to come down with a couple grunts, maybe going to be looking to do a bit of creep jacking, going to try and catch the creeping going on here, but it looks like this creeping will be done in time. Actually Blademaster needs to be careful to avoid these creeps, but actually they're in such a weird position where they're sort of all in a circle around them, and he's actually not in a huge amount of trouble. This Blademaster now going to come in, going to try and get a hit off. Yes, he does get a hit off, but unfortunately cannot block that Fiend. Fiend needs to run back. Obviously taking damage on your Fiend isn't as bad as it normally is in this situation, because our undead here can just obviously buy some salves if need be from his allies' shop, and so that will give him a bit of extra durability. We know this demon hunter's doing some harassment, but actually has managed to get no more kills than I believe it was probably a peon at the start. But a wisp down does come in. The spirit wolves are separated though. Very nice play there by our pink orc, and it looks like we do have only one of them goes down. And now first huntress is coming into the battle. Huntresses do pretty well against everything that the orc has here, because it's just so tricky to do any damage really with grunts against them, and actually hide being used as well. Demon hunter will probably go back, heal up, and then come back into this battle. And we do now have the undead actually has managed to outfox the Blade Master, who's now looking around I think for him, and actually ends up just doing some creeping of his own, but really would prefer to be getting a creep jack. Does actually get his grunt here, and actually that's going to force one of these fiends to run away, but it's not going to be too efficient. Level 2 now on this death, and actually one of the creeps being left here which can heal itself as well, so that's going to take ages for him to take down. I'm not even sure if it's really worth coming back for that. Dust even being used just to see if the Blade Master is going to come in, but I think that's really wasteful, because it's barely any experience there, and the Dust is was just you don't want to be wasting them basically. And looks like we do this Farseer now, doing a bit more creeping with it. Demon Hunter insisting on doing some harassment, and really doing a nice job. Actually, actually not even worth getting a mana burn off here, because this Farseer now already down to almost no mana. So we'll be needing to use a Clarity in the near future. And we do have tech from the Elf almost finishing, I believe, tech from all the players. Yeah, it looks like it. Obviously, the Undead's tech is a lot later, because he did have to go for those Fiends, which is quite a cost. Actually, Cripple being used here on one of these Fiends. That's going to put it in a very bad position. Looks like this Blade Master, ooh, actually he's going for the other one first. And will he be able to get it? No, Cole goes off, and now, yes, he goes for the one that's crippled. Very, very smart play here by our Yellow Orc. So easy to take these things down. And Cole goes off to save it, but he looks like he's actually being blocked by his own Fiends a bit there. And no, he's not going to be able to save it in the end. And a critical strike actually there from the Blade Master as well. But it looks like we have another battle going on here, actually just ending, so we'll go back to this one. And the Blade Master continuing to do a lot of damage, and isn't obviously going to want to be fighting in the range of this Nerubian tower. So we'll be moving back as soon as he gets within range. Probably actually he's taking some hits around, and that's a big mistake there by him. He does force another coil, but obviously clarities can be bought as well if the Death Knight just goes and pops over to the shop of the Pink Orc here. And we do now have the Demon Hunter go finish off this creeping actually, and I gotta get level 2 off that. Wow, actually it's a huge amount of experience there from that camp, as well as getting a Tome of Agility. And meanwhile we do have this small creep camp being crept out, and finally level 2 on this Farseer, where the Farseer's been creeping this whole time. The Demon Hunter's been just doing harassment, and ooh, look at that, keep the Grove second here for our Elf. And we do have, it's almost like a standard 1 versus 1 here for our Yellow Orc. And actually we do have another creep jack here going on. Cripple being used yet again. This is so bad here for this Undead. Undead now going to maybe lose another Fiend. He doesn't have enough mana, and yes, he does lose it. And this is not going well at all for the Undead, who only has 2 Fiends at this point in the game. Meanwhile, he is tier 2. He doesn't have a second hero out yet. Actually, just starting his Lich now. And we do have a standard 1 Spirit Lodge, 1 Bestiary, and Shadow Hunter out second for our Pink Orc. So he will be going for a more standard strategy, although obviously having the Farseer is pretty unstandard. Ooh, 1 low grunt being chased down by the creeps, and 14 health. It will maybe just about be able to get away. And I mean, we do have another fight going on here. Look like that 1 grunt did eventually manage to survive. Nice staff there by that Keep to the Grove, and Keep to the Grove will be able to run away now. He even was past the TP as well, so will really be very, very durable. And meanwhile, another speed call being used actually here by this Orc, who looks like he's been put in a bad position. A lot of Fiends still alive here for our red Undead, so it looks like he hasn't taken too much damage in these creep jacks, but he hasn't managed to take down these creeps, and he just keeps on getting his Fiends crippled, and that's just so bad. Cripple is so strong, especially early on like this when you have no way of dispelling. And Mana Burn actually going off on that Shadow Hunter. I mean, he won't be able to Hex, which I presume is his starting skill. Healing Wave is pretty unlikely in this situation. And we do now have 1 Entangling Roots going off on this Raider, and the Raider, oh, he does go down, and losing your first Raider is so bad, because it takes so long for you to get your second one out, because you do also have to research and snare. So a very, very nice play. And ooh, now the Orc Tau coming down. Ooh, no, he's not. It could have been a nice 2-on-1 fight there if he had come down, but I think the problem is that the Elf does need to still heal up, and he's actually running really low, and Moon just being forced to use a Moonstone as well. And actually 1 really low grunt here. That was the grunt that was almost taken down by creeps, now finally being salved up. And looks like we do have another battle going on here. The grunts now were running away. Another speed scroll being used. Actually looks like this 1 feed will be taken down despite being frost armor. That's going to slow down the Blade Master quite a bit. Burrow being used though, and looks like no dust here for this Yellow Orc, so he does just have to give it up then, and that's very, very unfortunate for him. And nice run here on this 1 grunt, going to be taken down despite the ooh, actually a Hex goes off. I think it's slightly too early, and the coil will be able to go off. Yes, it does, just in time. And I think if that Hex was a second later, the Lich could have been killed, but unfortunately no critical strikes, or not enough critical strikes for the Blade Master, so he didn't manage to do the damage he needed to in the time he had. And now actually the Shadow Hunter in a bit of trouble, even with the aura, though he does manage to get away, and does need to be wary of aggroing those creeps there obviously. And a lot of skeletons that probably should just be sent back to try and slow down this Orc army, because you really don't want to get things like your Lich ensnared there. Does have to coil it yet again, and the Death Knight now doesn't have enough mana for another coil, though he will have enough very, very soon, and almost gets this around there on that Blade Master. Meanwhile, we do have another fight here. Looks like this gold mine has been crept out here by the Pink Orc. Level 2 now on the Shadow Hunter, almost level 3 on the Farseer, compared to only 2-1 for this Elf player. And another Entangling Roots on the Raider. This is very, very nice, and a lot of Dryads now being built though, and that's just going to be so bad. Demon Hunter getting hexed and eventually being forced to run away. Bear in mind, there is still the staff here on this Keep to the Grove. Another Moonstone being used, and now the Blade Master coming in to try and help, but the Demon Hunter is staffed at the last second, and it looks like this Pink Orc being forced to TP out. He used a speed claw, actually. I think he thought he could run away, but the snare was just too powerful, and he ends up losing a raider. So very nice teamwork there by the North team, and actually, one skeleton could do a lot of salve counseling, but it looks like that's not going to be what goes on, unfortunately. He was just taken out too quickly by those Drides, and the Blade Master now maybe going to run down. No, he's going to go for that level 3 on his Blade Master, and does actually need to get a lot more experience on his Shadow Hunter. Low-level Shadow Hunters just not going to be good in this sort of 2 versus 2 situation. You really do need to get the sort of good level on the healing wave, because that's really your big end goal for that Shadow Hunter, is to have level 3 healing wave. And now a Warmill going up, obviously getting a Kodo at it very quickly is so important. Actually, look, we already have a Warmill up here, just because the aura from the Kodo is super effective, and we do not have this. Actually, the orcs meeting each other for the first time basically, and actually having a fight. And it looks like we do have the Blade Master getting surrounded there, very nice surround there, and it looks like this Blade Master might just about be able to windwalk away. Yes, he does. And will he be caught though when he goes into another fight? No, it looks like he won't be. He's going to be very nicely helped by his ally. Finally, the undead TP's in, and maybe he'll be able to help out his pink ally, who was really struggling in that fight. And now looks like the orc army is going to run, and the elf army actually a bit slower. One Spirit Walker does actually get ensnared. Maybe more ensnares will be able to go off, but we'll have to see. No, it looks like this team isn't going to even contest for it, and actually the Tree of Life now going down, but immediately being cancelled there. Looks like that was a pretty gutsy move, actually. That was the elf, who's sort of diametrically opposite. I'm not sure why he would go for that expansion, apart from maybe the fact that he was hoping it just wouldn't be scouted. Slaughterhouse now producing some more statues, which is again one of those things that are so important because it does have an area of effect. And looks like we have more Spirit Walkers coming out. Obviously, again, Spirit Link's so important in this sort of situation. They don't even have Dispel at this point, because Dispel not too useful apart from against your enemy Spirit Link, and maybe entangling roots as well. And the elf now trying to take a more reasonable expansion here, and looks like maybe he just went for that because he wanted to get his expansion down and he hadn't crept out his own and camp. But that's really gutsy of him. If I'm not sure if that was his plan or not. And now both Demon Hunter and actually, Demon Hunter now hits level 3, keeps it go very nearly level 3 as well, and this Undead now doing a bit of creeping now, going to take out these last couple of creeps. Does have level 3 on his Death Knight now, as well as level 2 on his Lich, and plus 17 damage on his Lich, actually, plus 12 on plus 12 claws. That's really nice there by him, especially once we get a Kodo out as well. That's going to be very dangerous. Actually, Kodo is already out, so very nice combination here for our South team. And our North team, meanwhile, does actually get a Pendant of Energy for a Shadow Hunter, which is going to be huge, as well as his Potion of Greater Mana. Those two work so well together, and it looks like a healing wave going off. He's gotten in very bad position. He will have to buy a TP. I wonder if he has the money. Actually, he might have to sell some items. Nova goes off, and actually one Spirit Walker being taken out. Oh, this is so bad. Now he does get caught, and oh, this is so brutal. He does use an invuln pot, and he loses a lot more. Now his Kodo gets ensnared as well. Very nice teamwork by the pink orc, having the pink orc come in as well, and a Hex now going off on the Shadow Hunter, who might now be taken down as well. This would be such a bad start. Yes, he does get taken down, and oh my god, that's such a brutal start to this battle for our yellow and for our North team. This expansion is still just going up now, and the Shadow Hunter though is focused down for the South team though. So really, both Shadow Hunters are taken down, and now it looks like we do just have a TP out of there. Very nice play there. I'm amazed that the North team managed to stay in that. Actually, a couple skeletons are going to be quickly taken out, and I think they were dispelled there actually by the Dryades. And so that just takes them out a bit quicker, and you don't have too much use for all your Dryad mana when you have this many Dryads. Actually, you can see even one of the Spirit Wolves being dispelled there as well, just to get rid of it a bit faster and mean that you can push into the space a bit quicker, maybe cancel the salve and the clarity. I mean, the Shadow Hunter not even halfway back yet, so I think we will need to see the Undead run and try and help here. The Orc is actually falling a bit behind as well, so he will need to finally catch up now. One Raider does get taken down, and it looks like there's no Raiders left here for Pink, and that's really bad. And now one Catapult coming out. He's in a bad position, but if he can just get some hits there on those Dryades, that'd be very nice. But obviously you need Ensnared to be able to get those hits off, because otherwise the Dryades can just walk away, and no Raiders means no Ensnare, and that's very brutal. And now bringing out some Peons as well, so he can Spirit Link them and have a whole bunch of extra health for his units. And this expansion now almost finished finally for this elf player, and actually one Ancient of War, so will be brought to defend. It's a smart choice there as well. And looks like we do have some shopping here by this Blade Master. Gonna pick up an invuln pot, maybe another healing scroll or something. We'll have to see what is actually no, he must have just popped out of Windwalk. There's no way he wants to take that 1-on-1 or 2-on-1 rather. And we do have this expansion now being crapped out here. And I think these expansions are so much safer. I'm not sure what the real incentive is for taking these expansions, apart from maybe it's easier to creep, but still. Whoa, what's that creep spell there? The Warlock has some amazing thing there. It looks like it does area of effect, but not a huge amount of damage, and is quite negated there by the statues with their healing, and then the Death Knight and its healing as well. And meanwhile, oh, plus 29, 2 plus 12 claws, as well as plus 5 from the orb. Very, very nice damage here on this Lich. Very, very scary focusing power just from that one unit, and in combination with things like the Hex and the Coil and the Nova, and actually the Demolishers as well, and actually the Raiders as well. There's a huge amount of potential for focusing down individual units very, very quickly. And actually one Raider gets caught, a Grunt now gets caught as well. Ooh, actually hexing a Grunt that was already it's a bit of a mistake there. It is going to give him a bit more time to take it down, but I don't think it was strictly necessary. I think he could have got away without it. And it looks like, ooh, actually Healing Wave. I'm amazed he's trying to keep this unit alive. He does keep it alive for a bit longer, but actually it looks like he might be in a good position now to fight. This North team does have his Droids in the back as well as the Grunts in the front. That's very, very nice position, but these two destroyers do have a bit of mana on them, so do a bit of damage. And it looks like we have Coil Nova goes off on this Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter now being forced to run is actually hexed, and so it will be a bit slower. And now we do have a lot of the Grunts in the front for the Pink now going down as well, so that's going to be very, very bad. The Coil goes off to take down that Demon Hunter, and now without that, the tanking ability of the North team is going to be very much diminished. And looks like we do have more Raiders now being focused down for yellow, because that's you really don't want to be tanking with that. But actually now the Blade Master being caught out as well. It does have 2 invuln pots. Maybe he was hoping to get one to that Demon Hunter, but didn't manage to in time or something. But it looks like we do have actually the Demon Hunter or the Blade Master now being able to use one of them, but is actually a bit surrounded there. Very, very nice play there by the South team. Does eventually force him to Windwalk away, and that's going to mean he has no more available Windwalks for a short little while at least. And we do have a couple Droids in the top now being taken down. Droids actually have 1 armor upgrade, which is odd because they're not supposed to be the tanks, but maybe it was just the realization that we're going to have to be using them to tank more damage than we really like to be. And also Droids don't have great damage output. It's the poison that's their great damage output, and is unaffected by the attack upgrade, so maybe that's their thinking there. I'm not quite sure. And now we do have 2 TPs from that South team trying to get out of there. Very nice micro to keep to stay in that game from the top team, but they've taken a lot of damage. They lost that Demon Hunter as well, which is going to be very, very bad for the Elf, because it's going to mean that this creeping going to be somewhat diminished now at this point, and also getting that level 6 Demon Hunter is so critical as well. Now you can see he's having to tank on his Keep of the Grove, and if a creep jack does come in, then that's going to put him in a very bad position, especially considering how small the army of this top orc is. And meanwhile we do have what's happened to Pink's armor? Ooh, actually Pink's setting up an expansion here. I think that's a smart position to set up an expansion, unless you can maybe set it down a bit lower, but I think it's much harder to scout out than this one, and I think that's the big advantage that the top team does have at the moment, is that they do have this expansion up, even though their army is quite small. They just need to be playing for a bit longer, hoping to get a bit more of an economic advantage, and then maybe hoping to do some harassment here, maybe just with the Blade Master, or maybe actually with sending down the armies and trying to base race or use Raiders to take it down and then get out of there. Something like that would be very, very smart. You know, we do have 50 food now for the top orc, 58 for the elf versus 39 and 47, so good food advantage here for our North team as well. But the hero advantage, I think, does, especially considering the item advantage, does go to our South team, so it's still looking pretty even at the moment. Death Knight now actually getting very close to level 5, even picking up some sentry wards there. If he pops one down now, he'll actually be able to see that Blade Master, but looks like he didn't actually manage to do that. And I think it'd be nice to put one here actually, just so you can see the shop, and then also a lot of this middle ground as well. And looks, ooh, there's Death Knight, just to be very careful. He does have frost armor, but this Blade Master going to be able to get some free hits on him if he wants to, and maybe even in this there if he managed to get his Raiders in there in time. But it looks like he won't be able to. Coil goes off, but it looks like this Blade Master uses an invuln pot in time, and a TP being forced to be used. Very, very nice, because the elf is coming in, and that's a good timing to TP out. We're actually hitting level 5 as he TPs out, and that level 5 Death Knight could prove to be absolutely huge, because that level 3 coil is so useful, both for the hero nukes, which are just so much more potent in 2 versus 2, and also just for keeping his Lich alive. And that Lich, as we've seen, has such high DPS that keeping it alive is ridiculously powerful. Actually, a late game Ogre Mauler, that's an interesting choice when you consider you could basically just get some grunts for that price, and some peons now being brought down to mine there. But what's really amazing is we do have, I think, three demolishers here for our orc player, and that's going to be so useful against those droids if he can manage to get them in a good position. Actually, this is a great position for him if he manages to now turn and fight, and actually looks like these droids moving a bit, but we see once we do get some volleys off the... Ooh, actually he's now focusing down on keep the growth. That's a big mistake there. There's a Farseer now being entangled, really in bad position, no invuln pot for him, and Hex now goes off and is immediately dispelled by the droids, and actually very nice micro, manages to get his Farseer to the back with the use of a healing troll now, and the snare going off on the Steam Hunter, who's now had to use an invuln pot, and oh, he just avoids being surrounded, and the undead comes in as well, and with no orc around for the north team, they are forced to, or the elf is forced to TP away, and the Spellmaster can just run away, but his army lagging so far behind, and actually his army is still quite meager really in comparison. And we do actually have a bunch of sentry wards being placed down. Actually, ooh, that's a bit of a mistake, putting down two right next to each other. Probably thought that it hadn't gone down or something. You'd cancelled it by moving somewhere and just put down another one somewhere else. And looks like he does he does have his abominations on the way now, and those abominations are going to be very useful, especially with the disease cloud, because it's just going to mean that they're such good tanks, and in conjunction with the really high DPS of the demolishers, if he can pick a fight in the right position, that's huge. But he does need to keep his army together. I think that's something that the south team isn't doing well, whereas the north team is doing that pretty well at the moment. We can see their armies are pretty close together, but I really don't understand this ogre Muller in this late game, because the grunts and raiders are just so much more cost effective. You may as well just transfer the money to your ally and let him do it, unless he's desperately trying to stick on 50 food, but I imagine he's pushing up by now. Yeah, it does look like it. Yeah, he's gone up to 60 food already, and we do now have the armies have actually both met up, and maybe we're going to be seeing a bit of a fight now. Looks like both teams are looking for a fight, although actually a bit of creeping going on here, and actually that thing even has a snare. Some of these creeps are really brutal, and this will be creeped out so quickly. Bears actually being made now here for our elf player, and that means that he has gone for tier 3, and so he has got his orb as well, and that orb of venom actually very, very useful, although lots of people like to put it on their keep their grove instead, just because it's ranged, and because it doesn't have some sort of other thing it's doing with its range attack, like the Naga with its cold arrows or something like that. And actually one Spirit Walker here managing to get through, because it is an ethereal form, and there's not too many things that can damage it, only those statues I think at the moment here, and obviously all the spells, but you aren't really too worried about that. And it looks like we do actually have one of these raiders now being pathing blocked here. Nice play there, but actually finally managed to turn around, gets in the snare, and this Blademaster does need to try and heal up, or maybe use his invuln pot. Actually he has both, and he's still at very low health. Does need to be very, very careful now in this upcoming battle, and this could be a great time for this south team to attack while this Blademaster is low on health, although he will be able to heal up pretty quickly. We can see a second healing wave being used. That's going to be the Shadowhunters a bit lower on mana, but actually 2 pendants of energy. That's very, very nice. You're in a huge battle now going on, and this is just such a crazy battle. So many abominations in the front doing so much tanking. A bunch of droids actually running a bit too far away, and it looks like we do have Blademaster actually now being focused on. I didn't even see that. So much going on here. That Blademaster was always pretty low, and we do now have actually the catapults in the back doing a huge amount of damage as well to those droids, because they are actually finally managing to focus, and actually getting some hits off there on the Kodos as well, and actually Bears now being eaten by the Kodo Beast as well. Very, very nice play there. Actually Abomination being eaten there, and it looks like we do have level 5 now on this Farseer as well, and healing wave being used at the last second there. Very, very nice play here by this orc, but will he be able to stay in this game, because they're actually just managing to do so much damage to this Death Knight, but the Death Knight being healed by the healing wave. Very, very nice. Invuln pot still available there for that low Death Knight as well, but there's a couple more units here for us north team, but the heroes are so strong here for the south team. Actually looks like this Death Knight now in a bad position, being forced to use an invuln pot. Does have a TP if he absolutely needs to use it, and this Kodo Beast now being focused down by those catapults yet again, but does eventually manage to run away. Mana burn being used as well there on that Death Knight. Death Knight now with no mana as well, won't be able to get any calls off to save this Lich, and the TP does need to go off absolutely immediately. The entangle route's just wears off in time, and he does manage to run, but eventually the south team does TP away, and looks like all the units will be caught in the TP. Very, very close battle there. Actually very amazing play by both sides, really managing to keep all the focusing down pretty well, and just managing to control their armies and be aware of their allies as well. That's something that's pretty big. Yeah, just being aware that your allies hero might be low on health, and that you can heal it, or that you should be moving it out of the way because it needs to run back, or things like that are very, very important in 2 versus 2, because even if you have shared control, it's so much more to worry about, and things like you don't have your allies heroes on just F keys and things like that, so it's always a bit trickier to try and control. So it's very, very impressive that they can be managing to do that. And it looks like this Tree of Eternity has actually now been walked down. The main gold mines have now been mined out, so it looks like it's going to be only mining here or 2 mines here for the elf, and then this 1 mine here for pink. So obviously the economic advantage definitely going to the top team, and the bottom team do have to act soon to try and do something. Looks like a couple of Spirit Wolves actually being sent in to do a bit of damage to the Tree of Eternity. That's not going to have too much of an effect. Actually, this is much bigger. Losing a Raider like this is just so bad. And 1-1 upgrades now finished for the elf. I'm not sure anyone's actually else has gotten any upgrades. Actually, oh sorry, 2-0 here for the undead player, and I don't think there's any on the orc. Although certainly he has very few units at the moment, so it's barely even worth checking, and he certainly has even fewer upgradable units. And luckily we do have a Cole Nova goes off to take down that Coda Beast. Wow, huge amount of focus required to actually take down something like Coda Beast, just so much health. And actually looks like the Tree of Eternity might now go down, because the catapults are coming in. They do 4 catapults now, so much damage, so quickly going to be able to take this down. And it looks like the elf's turning around, but he doesn't have a lot of units, certainly not enough to take this army out. And we'll be trying to do a bit of damage here, but we'll have to turn around. Maybe even these catapults can get off some pot shots on the Dryades if they're lucky. And actually it looks like eventually that Tree of Eternity does go down. The Wisp will probably be detonated, because trying to rebuild that is pretty tricky. And actually very nice micro there, managing to burrow that one very low fiend. And looks like we do have this Dryad actually taking a huge amount of focus. We can see with -5 armor, actually does eventually go down to those fiend hits. Very nice, -5 armor, and then obviously the 2-0 on those fiends, as well as all the bonus damage on the fiends as well from the Kodus. So much DPS output there. Very nice play here by the South team. Finally the Blademaster coming back into this battle. He is level 5, and he is going to go immediately for the catapults. That's a good choice there. They are very unprotected at this moment. It looks like one's going to go down immediately, but it looks like actually we do have one of those bears being focused on. Another one will probably be focused on pretty quickly after. The Blademaster does down get instead, and Hex as well. Nice to get that Hex off, not even to focus it down, but just to keep its huge amount of DPS out of the battle for a short period of time. And no more Raiders for either side by the looks of things, or actually no, one for the North team, but none for the South team. So as the North team retreats, there's nothing that can be done about it, because the Hex isn't going to be too useful in this situation, and the Lich is out of mana for Frost Nova. And it looks like we do have the Blademaster going to come back in now. Going to try and focus down actually maybe this one Raider. Yes, he is, and he's going to run away. Focusing on these Raiders is so nice, because it just allows you to do all these hit and runs attacks like that without sort of the fear of being ensnared and surrounded and everything, which is really the big threat at this point. And you know, it looks like we don't have any buildings being sold off yet for the undead. So certainly he's at 27 out of 70, so he can sell a bunch of cigarettes, and maybe graveyard and slaughterhouse, things like that. He's still building some statues actually, so maybe he has a bit more time before he starts needing to do that. And looks like the Raiders managing to run away from the hit of the Demolishers. There's actually been very nice micro all game long from the Elf, managing to avoid a lot of those Demolisher hits, which are so brutal if they do collide. And Staff being used to save that Demon Hunter before a huge amount of focus went on him, and keeping that Demon Hunter alive is going to be very important. Bear in mind the Demon Hunter now, I think there's probably Staff there. Yeah, he does Staff there, so he does need to be careful about how he rallies back to his base. And very low Moon Juice as well, another Nightstone having to be used. And those Wisps, I think they must have eventually detonated, but one of them is still alive down there, so could put up an expansion later on if you wanted to. Only 5,000 gold left in this mine, and that will mean that he's actually, yeah, one of the players is observing the same thing, is that these corner mines must have much less gold in them. Yeah, 10,000 compared to 15,000 in the middle, I believe. Yeah, so it's you do mine out a lot quicker, even though it is a bit safer, so it's a bit of a trade-off. And looks like we do have the 5/5 heroes now for the Elf. Very nice hero, especially that so close to level 6, and the area of effect Tranquility spell could prove to be very useful out of battle. Obviously in battle there's ensnare and hex and everything, so you can't really get away with using it unless you're really far back, which I suppose you could actually maybe try and get away with. But imagine I'm going to come down, going to do a good bit of harassment here, but the problem is that the battle could go on soon here, and if the Blademaster isn't around, that could be very bad. Demon Hunter now moving down. This could be very bad if the North or if the South team realizes, but it looks like the Demon Hunter does turn around in time, and we do have a bit of harassment going on here. 204 damage critical strike there, really brutal. And looks like actually the Blademaster is going to take a bit of damage, but going to be able to do so much harassment. That's so nice to be able to do there. Just really keep your opponent busy. Trying to defend that, and then meanwhile you can do things like trying to take out these Demolishers, which are going to do a huge amount of damage. You can see the damage that the Dryades are taking just from a couple Demolisher hits, and yeah, that's just so brutal. And Healing Wave has to go off just to keep the Dryades in the battle for a bit longer, and Entangling Roots goes off to take down one of these raiders, but there are 2 more raiders, and Ensnare on this Demon Hunter could be very, very strong at this point. It is staffed away though just before the Ensnare can go off, and Ensnare finally does go off on this one Dryade, but the Dryade will be taken down. Look at how much damage those demolisher hits do. It's just almost not even fair just how much damage they do. This Blademaster doing a huge amount of damage. Very nice harass all game long there by that Blademaster, and we do have an attack now coming in. Like a couple of these Dryades are going to be focused down. And actually a Nova goes down. This Demon Hunter down to no health and is chain lightninged and taken down. Very, very nice. Force here now almost level 6, but the Demon Hunter level 5 being taken down is so bad for this elf team, for the North team, and the elf will need to buy it back. Actually looks like he's getting it back at the altar, but if he has some money, I think taverning it back at this point is so important. Blademaster actually coming in, managing to do a lot of damage to these catapults. Will he be able to take this one down? Speed Scroll being used to try and save it, but actually I think it's worse to try and run it away like that, because it's just going to play into Blademaster's hand. No, he does finally turn it around. That's a smart choice there by him, and looks like the elf's going to try and camp in his base until the Demon Hunter is back out, because getting that Demon Hunter back out is so critical, because otherwise you don't have any tanks basically in this army, and it's just so important to have something to do tank a bit of damage. More Dryades being produced, and this one mine still going. It's been going for a long time now, and this one mine actually having peons rebuilt, but only one mining at the moment. And oh, look at this one, this altar now being taking a lot of focus. The Farseer almost level 6, and we could see some earthquake action going on. And yeah, he does hit level 6 now, so earthquake here on these 5 buildings. But I think he could probably hit all 5 with one earthquake. Could be brutal if he manages to avoid things like the entangling roots and stuff. So he would need to chase the elf army out, and in that case he could do a lot of damage. A hex going off as well as an Ensnare on this Blademaster. He does eventually manage to windwalk away, and a Healing Wave being used as well, and more focus going down here on this one grunt, but a hex goes off, and oh, the Blademaster just manages to run away. Coil Nova and Chain Lightning goes off. The Blademaster taken down as well. Very, very nice focus here by just a couple heroes basically left for the South team. Against a lot of Dryades still left, but they are being slowly taken down. No, nice Healing Wave there. Shadowhunter level 6. Probably he's gone for Hex level 3. I can't say for certain though. He might have seen some purpose here for Big Bad Voodoo, but I think it seems pretty unlikely. And Nova goes off as well, trying to focus down another hero, and this is how the South team need to win at this point, just focusing down heroes, because obviously their economy is much worse, their army count is much worse, but their heroes are just so strong. The Demon Hunter is now back out though. This could be very, very big now. Maybe the Elf team and the Elf and Orc team will be able to stay in this battle for a bit longer, but oh my god, with the Shadowhunter going down as well, this is just so brutal here. So much power here from just the heroes. Fortunately, that one statue is all doing a huge amount of healing and actually regenerating mana, but oh, the Keeper of the Grove gets the Entangle, takes down that Death Knight, and now maybe the Lich is going to be in a lot of trouble as well. Looks like a Frost Armor does eventually go down, but obviously that can be dispelled pretty easily by these Dryades. Very, very close game here. I can't believe how action-packed the ending is here. Demon Hunter taking a lot of focus now. Will he be focusing? Yes, he is. He tries to heal up on the Moonwolves, but he heals up on one, but he was out of range on the other one. And oh my god, so much hero focus. Looks like it's only ranged heroes left here for the South team. They will be trying to take down one more Dryade. They do manage to, but they lose a statue, which is not a good trade for them. The one Spirit Walker coming in as well. That's going to be useful for that. Spirit Link as well. The Fiend Burrows, obviously you need to be doing micro like that. Dispelling the Entangling Roots that was cast on the Spirit Walker. Nice play there by him. Though certainly entangling a Spirit Walker, probably not the best choice, and might just be better to conserve your mana. The Keeper of the Grove does still have a bit of mana left in the bank. So looks like we do have the Demon Hunter trying to be bought back. I wonder about these other heroes. Looks like a bunch of buildings being sold. No Death Knight coming back yet though, so maybe he's gonna tavern it back, but really does need to get that Death Knight back. And oh, the Nova goes off, and now the Keeper of the Grove is taken down as well. Does that mean there's no heroes left here for North team? Oh wow, that would be very, very bad for them, because you basically can't play. You have a huge army, but if you're fighting against heroes with no heroes, then you basically just auto lose, because heroes are so important. And now one of those Ancients of Lore going down. Maybe the altar will be taken out as well before the Demon Hunter gets back. The Blademaster is now back, the level 6 Blademaster, against basically three really low maximum health heroes. Certainly all of them are at pretty decent health now, and looks like the Blademaster now getting entangled, and maybe he'll be able to run away. He does get Nova taken down as well. Oh my god, so bad here. Very, very nice focus though by that top team. Look at these here, level 7 on the Lich, 7 on the Farseer, and 6 on the Shadowhunter. Really brutal hero levels as they start to take down all these buildings. Obviously, taking down those Moonos is very, very important, just because it does mean that the healing, which is so important in this late game because it's all heroes at this point, doesn't happen. Oh, the Demon Hunter's now been tampered back. He's so close to level 6. Oh, if he can hit level 6, maybe we can see a comeback. He does hit level 6 now. Obviously, no mana quite yet, and because those Moonos have been taken down, he can't regenerate his mana as quickly as he would like. Maybe he can go by a Clarity. No, he gets ensnared though. Very, very nice play here. Maybe he's going to stop this Demon Hunter from hitting level 6, getting Metamorphosis, and just going and taking out so much. But the Hex goes off and down to 16 health, and the Demon Hunter gets taken down as well. And now, really, this team needs to take down this mine. But such a close game. So many times when the North team could have come back, but just very, very nice hero focus, very nice use of a very odd combination of heroes manages to keep them in the game. And this huge long distance mining has actually meant that both of the Orc heroes will eventually be back, but it's going to be a while before that level 6 Blade Master is back. And it looks like we do have this the Tree of Life now being taken down as well, but no more wisps left there. Obviously they have been evacuated already, and this mine now mining at full capacity. Actually, ooh, look at this, a Tree of Ages being upgraded at this mine, but actually a watchtower being put down and I think, yeah, that is an offensive watchtower as well. Sorry, I couldn't see the minimap colors there. And so the pink orc does eventually come down, and this Tree of Ages should be cancelled to try and take down this one raider, just with a huge damage from a Tree of Life and all the wisps coming out. And maybe they're actually going to go for the repair, but the Demolisher comes in as well, and that's just going to do too much damage. And it looks like these wisps will eventually be detonated, maybe in trying to take down all these Spirit Wolves as well. But I don't think there's. Oh, actually, the Shadowhunter should be out. So yeah, the experience will go to the Shadowhunter for those. But still, it's important actually. It's probably more important actually just to drain them the mana off these heroes. It's 7/7/7 heroes now, but they're still with no Death Knight, and that's so bad. And actually looks like he's no intention of trying to get it back, even though it would be obviously it would cost a lot. But he could probably sell a lot of things, or maybe send a bunch of money here, and that would be able to do it. Demon Hunters have been bought back now at the tavern yet again, and now actually doing a lot of harassment and then staffing out. I wonder how many peons. Actually, one peon was killed, or 2 peons were killed, but one was rebuilt. So only needs to rebuild one more now to have full saturation yet again. And this Demon Hunter, or this Death Knight now, going to be running up and trying to catch. Actually, the Death. Oh, sorry. Ooh. Oh wow, the Death Knight actually was bought back. I didn't even see that there, but that's going to be very, very bad now for the North team, with all 4 heroes back in the game. And actually losing all his peons as well. This is very, very bad now, and no Master out quite yet, and the Demon Hunter is still healing up. Obviously, Metamorphosis could be the thing that keeps the North team in the game, but really at this point, there's just so high level heroes, 6/7/7/7. So hard to take out, and then 5 raiders. Sorry, very, very nice focusing potential here. Really, any hero is liable to be focused down in one volley. And looks like we do have Metamorphosis being used. Nice positioning here actually for the North team, and actually the Demon Hunter being able to do a good amount of damage to those raiders who actually don't have a huge amount of health. And it looks like one of the raiders will go down first, and the Blade Master now being ensnared as well will need to heal up. Actually does have an invuln pot, so it might be okay to try and engage for a bit longer, but obviously the healing away from the Shadowhunter is pretty brutal as well. And the Demon Hunter now taking a bit of focus, does need to be careful, and a bunch of low raiders now as well. And it looks like we do have the Demon Hunter actually being a bit outflanked here, does need to make sure to stay a bit back so he doesn't get surrounded. And it looks like we do have a lot of focus now going down on the Shadowhunter. Shadowhunter now very low on mana, but is handed a healing potion, so will be kept alive. And it looks like actually the Shadowhunter now on the run, but the Nova goes off now on the Metamorphosized Demon Hunter, and it looks like the Demon Hunter actually, as I said, getting a bit outflanked. And it looks like the Demon Hunter using his staff to get away, does manage to get away before any ensnare comes off cooldown. Very, very nice. Invuln pot now being used by the Demon Hunter as well, and he will be able to do a lot more damage to this Lich who's now on the run. But the Metamorphosis is actually almost running out. The South team has sort of endured the massive damage, and it looks like, oh my god, the Demon Hunter now being very, very low on health, and does get healing with the last second, though he is ensnared, and he does need to run for it, and it looks like he will eventually be taken out. There's not enough mana left for a coil, so the Demon Hunter doesn't need to turn around quite yet. The Blade Master being able to do a huge amount of damage, and the Shadowhunter is going to go down for the South team, and oh my god, now the Demon Hunter does need to stay alive, and maybe this team can stay in the game. There's almost enough for a Chain Lightning, and he does actually mana burn just before enough for a Chain Lightning, and now enough for a coil is coming up in just a second. Now he does get the coil, he does get the kill, and level 7 now on this Death Knight. Oh my god, this looks like the Shadowhunter's been bought back though. Maybe the South team will be able to use it just to stay in the game. It looks like Ensnare goes off there to keep the Shadow Hunter from running forward, and actually this one Demonstration going to be caught out, but oh my god, all 4 heroes still left up now. This Lich did manage to survive by the looks of things, and looks like, oh my god, that's going to be it as they leave the game. Very, very close game there, and just very, very well-deserved win there for that South team. And wow, what an amazing game though. I'm not sure if there were any GGs or not, if there was just too much anger. It's such a close game, so many hero kills at that end especially, and it all came down to really that the Demon Hunter being focused down by that call at the last second. Very nice play there, and I very much enjoyed that game. I hope you enjoyed that game too. It's always fun to have a couple fun 2 versus 2 thrown in with all the really, really high level pro games that we do watch. So I hope you enjoyed that game, as I say, and I'll see you guys very, very soon for some more games. Thanks, folks.